Welcome back to our channel, Recaptivating. Today, I'm going to give you a recap of the second episode from the apocalyptic series The Last of Us. The episode starts with a flashback to before the world was destroyed by the cordyceps virus. It was in Jakarta, Indonesia on September 24th, 2003. Ibu Ratna, a professor of mycology at the University of Indonesia, is brought in by the police to investigate a body. She is given a sample to investigate, and it's a bullet that's in the middle of a corpse's forehead. She investigates the corpse ankle and finds a human bite mark. Upon opening up the bite wound, she finds fungi inside. She then sees tendrils in the corpse's mouth, which are moving around and seeping out. Police tell her that this happened 30 hours ago at a factory on the city's west side. Shortly after, a normal woman became violent and attacked 4 co-workers, biting 3 of them. They then locked her in the bathroom, and when the police tried to arrest her, she attacked them. The police eventually shot her. The people that the woman bit were taken in for observation, but later on, they were executed. The cops then tell her that they never found whoever bit the woman, and that 14 other workers from the factory were missing. Ratna tells them that there's no way of making a vaccine or medicine. The only thing left to do is to bomb the city, with everyone still in it. Ratna becomes tearful knowing that the end is near, and she has to be driven home so she can be with her family before the world ends. In the present day, Ellie is sleeping in an abandoned building, and Joel and Tess are watching her. They are perplexed by this girl who seems immune to the outbreak. Her bite is not getting worse, and she does not seem to be infected. The head of the Boston Fireflies, Marlene, found Ellie after she was bitten. They locked her up and tested to see if she was infected. Ellie goes to the restroom, and Joel and Tess talk about their new traveling partner. Tess believes that she is immune because she doesn't turn at night. However, Joel thinks that eventually it's going to happen. As Joel wants to return her to the Boston headquarters, Tess sees Ellie as an opportunity to get the supplies promised by Marlene. When Ellie returns, Tess and Joel ask her why Marlene is protecting her. Ellie tells them it's because there's a Firefly base camp with doctors working on a cure, and that she could be the key to finding the vaccine. Joel is familiar with this, a false sign of promise in a world that has given him no hope at all. However, Tess wants to finish the job whether it's true or not. In the end, Joel and Tess get what they want if they deliver Ellie, and that's good enough for Tess. They walk around the city as Tess talks about how most major cities were bombed to stop the spread. And even though it worked in Boston, it didn't in most places. Then they realize their path is blocked, and they decide to take the long way around instead of the shorter, we're fucking dead path. This was probably a smart choice. As they were going along the long path, Ellie tells Tess that she was bit after sneaking into an old mall in the quarantine zone. Ellie then talks about how she explored the abandoned mall by herself. She tells them that she's an orphan, so she won't have any parents or boyfriends looking for her. Ellie then mentioned how surprised she was to find out that there were no infected outside the QZ. She claims that maybe the rumors of cities being overrun by the infected may have been exaggerations. The 3 come across a flooded hotel and Ellie trips after discovering a skeleton. Joel helps her up, then feels shaken when he remembers his past, when helping a child was not such a strange occurrence. They move 10 floors up the hotel when suddenly their path is blocked by rubble. Tess goes to investigate, and Joel and Ellie are left behind for the first time. Joel tells her that he's from Texas, and Tess reveals that she's from Detroit. When Ellie asks Joel whether he and Tess are a thing, and how he ended up in Boston, Joel plainly tells her, pass. Ellie asks how long the infected can stay alive, and Joel tells her that some can live for a month or 2, while others have been walking around since the infection began 20 years ago. Ellie then asks if it's hard killing the infected, knowing that there were once people, and Joel tells her, sometimes. Ellie continues to ask if it was hard to kill the Fedra guard when they escaped, but the questioning comes to an end when Tess returns. As they were looking out on a balcony at the hotel, Ellie noticed the first swarm of infected. Most of them were dead, but some were still scrounging around. Ellie tells them that the infected are connected. Tess adds to this by saying the fungus grows underground and connects them. This means that if one person finds you, there is a possibility that others nearby can find you easily. Even though Ellie is immune, Tess reminds her that she can still be ripped apart. Now, since their planned route is blocked by infected, they decide to make their way through a nearby museum. The museum, however, might have infected inside. Everything seems okay inside the museum until they come across a freshly killed man who has been torn apart. Tess mentions she hasn't heard anything inside, and Tess and Joel remain silent. The two then tell Ellie that she must be completely silent from here on. As they walk through the museum, part of the roof caves in, which attracts the attention of two clickers. These are infected that can't see but detect their enemies through sound. As the clicker is walking by, Ellie makes the slightest noise, which leads the clicker straight to her. Joel and Tess run and shoot the clickers as Ellie hides. After shooting them, Joel finds Ellie and tries to lead them to safety. However, he steps on a piece of glass and a clicker comes straight at them. The clicker falls on both of them, but Joel protects Ellie, shooting the clicker until it gets off of them. When the other clicker attacks him, Tess strikes it with an axe in the head, and Joel shoots it dead. When the creatures are finally dead, the trio regroups and confirms that they're fine. However, Ellie has been bitten in the same spot she was bitten the first time. When Ellie crosses to another building, Joel and Tess stay back to talk, and Joel is worried that the second bite will definitely turn her. However, Tess is frustrated by this, and she tells Joel to accept the positive for once. Tess then stays back as Joel and Ellie look out at the city. They both look at the White House, which is their destination, and then off into the distance. When they finally got to the building, there was no signs of fireflies anywhere. All they found was a truck covered in blood, a body outside, and a trail of blood leading into the State House. As they make their way inside, they find the fireflies dead. It looks like one of them got sick. This must be what led to the bloodbath, where everyone lost. Tess remains determined to find out where the fireflies are taking Ellie. But Joel insists that it's over and that they should go back home. Tess starts yelling that the QZ isn't her home and that she's staying. She says her luck had to run out sometime. Ellie replies by saying Tess is infected and it's noticeable on her face. When she tries to move closer to Joel, he flinches away, and this deeply hurts Tess. Tess then reveals the bite mark on her neck, which has already become worse than Ellie's newer bite. Tess tries to convince Joel that Ellie's immunity is real. Tess then begs Joel to get Ellie to Bill and Frank's place, and after that, they'll take her off his hands. When Joel refuses, Tess says that he will convince him and that she never asks him for anything. Tess tells Joel that this now is his chance and that he can get her out of here alive. She tells him that he can set everything right after all the things they've done. As they're talking, one infected comes to life and Joel shoots it in the head. When it falls though, the tendrils from the ground seep into the infected's body, which alerts other infected nearby of the trio's location. Joel looks outside and notices a swarm moving towards him. Tess starts knocking gas canisters open and spreading grenades on the ground. When Joel realizes what she's doing, Tess comes over and tells him, "Save who you can save." Joel then drags Ellie out and they leave Tess behind, who doesn't even move. As the swarms of infected are trying to break in, Tess tries to flick her lighter to light the gas. However, as they run past, she can't get her lighter to light. She draws the attention of one of the infected, who comes over to a now frightened Tess. He gets into her face, and tendrils come out of his mouth and into hers. All this time, she's been trying to light her lighter. She finally manages to flick out a flame, and it blows up Tess and the other infected. As Ellie and Joel come out of the burning flames, Joel is upset because he lost one of the last people in the world who meant anything to him. Ellie realizes that, as much as the fact that their journey is just beginning, and that it can't all be for nothing in the end. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more movies like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.